Why am I procrastinating so much? Actually, why do we procrastinate? If you have ADHD like me, you often struggle with procrastination. In this video, we will talk about what is procrastination, what the signs are, and the benefits. So let's get started. What is procrastination? It is the act of delaying tasks or not completing them. And it looks like this on a day-to-day basis. Let's say you have a task list, that annoying to-do list, and you have multiple items on the list: washing dishes, the car, going shopping, responding to emails. And did you ever notice that the easy tasks get done first and the harder or annoying ones get done last? And then you may place them on the list the next day or delete them from your list completely. Well, that's an example of procrastination. Now, how do we get rid of it? I've come up with a strategy. Now, before I share this with you, please subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any of my videos. Now let's go back to how do we get rid of procrastination. It's very simple. With every task that you have on the list, put a value to it. What does that task mean to you? For example, if you're washing dishes, does it mean that you're having a clean environment or simply taking care of your mental health? What about washing the car? What does that mean to you? With each task and the value you assign to them, you will notice that you will see a pattern. So for example, for me, when I cook or clean, I'm taking care of my mental health. When I complete assignments, when I respond to emails, for me, it means that I am productive. So a lot of the habits I have is formed around productivity and clean environment and keeping a good mental health. When you see those values, you will begin to understand your priorities and you will begin to rank them. So all the stuff that you love to do will be ranked on top. Let's say it's cleaning dishes or washing the car, and that your value is keeping a clean environment, and you see that most of your list items is around keeping a clean environment. Naturally, those priorities will go on top of that list. Now, what happens to the items that are on the bottom of the list? Can you take a guess what we're going to do with those? I've assigned a reward to those task items that I don't want to complete or I continue to delay. For example, I really do not like cleaning unless I have to. Since I live with my roommate who loves a clean environment, I go ahead and basically reward myself with chocolate or a yoga exercise. So when I'm done cleaning, I think to myself, okay, I need a piece of chocolate. And the other reward is that my roommate comes home and she's smiling and I feel like I'm a good human being and quite frankly, a really good roommate. As a matter of fact, she actually comments how clean the environment is, and then I feel rewarded for that item. So whether or not somebody else rewards you, you need to reward yourself so that task item gets done. So as I've mentioned, to tackle the tasks that you don't enjoy, you connect them with a reward, which is your pleasure. When I clean my room or in my co-living space, I reward myself with chocolate. What is it that you do? How many of us actually think about procrastinating and the mechanisms behind it? Do we actually think it's procrastination or just being lazy? Which, by the way, I will talk about why laziness is actually a good thing in smaller periods of time. For ADHD brains, procrastination is a way of life. And let me actually go into that. We experience time differently, so tasks often feel less urgent. We don't actually act until something is due. When that homework assignment is due, minutes before the assignment is due, we do something. For example, when I was a journalist, I had to have a daily deadline to complete a news article, and I would wait until the last minute, 2 hours before the deadline, to complete the news article. Well, what's important to understand here is that when that deadline approaches, we're very fast and efficient. So to the non-ADHD brain, it looks like we're doing nothing all day, and it may look stressful when we're actually completing the task right before it's due. But to us, it feels comfortable. It feels normal to leave things last minute and then get them done. The issue is when we actually don't get them done, that stresses everybody, including ourselves. And remember, for the ADHD brain, when we actually complete the task, we get a huge dopamine hit. And we want to keep getting that hit. So we're most likely going to leave everything till the last minute just so we get that reward in our brain. By the way, when we get that dopamine hit, it reinforces procrastination. Some people may look at it as we're conserving our energy 80% of the time to perform that 20% of the time. So it's not always a bad idea to procrastinate, because from the human body perspective, we're just conserving energy. In this way, procrastination is a gift because we conserve energy. And the easiest way to reduce procrastination is to understand your value system. Once you understand the value system, you can understand your priorities, and then you could rank them from most important, being on top of the hierarchy, to least important. I remember procrastinating on a novel, and I'd spend months completing the novel until I had about 2 weeks to finish it, and then I wrote 2/3 of that book in those 2-week periods. So for people who procrastinate, it's really important to set those deadlines and to continuously reward ourselves, and also to communicate that, you know what, we're procrastinating because we're conserving energy, but when we have to perform, we will perform. There's another thing I want to mention here. Procrastination is not a bad thing when it's in small doses of time. So for the ADHD brain, like I said, we conserve energy, but we also daydream. We also think in our mind how to solve problems. Procrastination could be time spent being creative, for example. It could also be time spent thinking about a problem, not just conserving energy. And also, it's putting your mind at rest. We obviously need restful periods in order to complete the tasks. So the next time you're procrastinating, try to see it as a signal rather than a flaw. It may be your brain's way of prioritizing energy conservation, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. Embrace the pause, reflect on the values, and think about those priorities. Sometimes doing nothing is exactly what you need to be productive. There is nothing wrong with procrastinating if you know how to use procrastination as a tool to get you to be more effective and productive. Thanks for listening, and if you like what you've heard, please leave a comment below. I'm curious about what are your strategies that you use for procrastinating, and how do you deal with, comments come from people, particularly if they're negative and they perceive you as being lazy. How do you deal with that? I'm curious, so leave a comment below. As always, do the best that you can every day.